Alright, today I'll be discussing Magic 101. Uh, your subconscious is the architect of all your reality, your subconscious mind. Magic is all about reactivating your subconscious mind. Because science tells us that we only use 10% of our brain power or consciousness, while the other 90% remains dormant or inactive or sleeping or presumably dead, if you will. So that's where you get the word tithe from. Tithe means a tenth or 10%. So we only using 10%. We have to pay tithes to the other 90% to wake us up. That's what the allegory is all about. Alright, so the first step in magic is about bringing light to your subconscious mind. So as stated in my earlier videos, the subconscious in allegories is usually represented as a dead or dying father, a father from in heaven, or a father in the underworld as an Osiris, a father on the dark side, or a dark side like Darth Vader, the sleeping god or sleeping beauty or sleeping person, something like that. But the 10% conscious person plays the role of savior or redeemer. Their character is usually an orphan or a loner, raised by relatives, like Spider-Man is raised by his aunt and uncle, same with Dorothy in the Oz, or they come from another realm or planet like Superman or Thor. They may have a earthly father like Jesus did, but they also have one that's in heaven. So just notice the similarity of all these stories and allegories, just in case you try to separate one and take them literally and then say the other ones are mythology. They're all either true or they're going to be all got allegories. Alright, so they usually come up with the logical left brain plan to enlighten or bring light to or awaken the dark, the creative or creator right side of the brain. So it's the creator that we're trying to, the creator which art in heaven, if you will. Alright, so now let's go to Hebrews 7 and let's read it. So Hebrews 7 is going to pretty much discuss a character named Melchizedek. Now this character is you can read them all throughout Hebrews. In particular, Hebrews 5 verse 6, you'll see where it says that Jesus or Yeshua followed in the order of Melchizedek. Other parts like Psalms 110. In Genesis 14:8, it's going to show how Abraham paid tithes, remember 10%, paid tithes to Melchizedek. But this Hebrews 7 is also going to tell us that also. So to get the most about Melchizedek, you can just read Hebrews chapter 7, verses 1 through 21. Alright. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace, without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of God, abideth a priest continually. Now I want to stop there. You can read the rest for yourself. So like I said, you can find it in Hebrews chapter 7 mainly. Psalms 110 refers to him. Genesis 14 verse 18. Hebrews chapter 5 verse 6 talks about how Jesus followed in Melchizedek's priesthood or footsteps, if you will. What you want to make note of, you want to ask yourself why this character is not being discussed in churches, in particular Christian churches. If this person had no father, no mother, so that means no beginning, no end. Without descent, that means that didn't die. No beginning days, was never born. So never was born, never died. So this is the Alpha and the Omega. This seems like a very important character, but you seem to only be given Jesus a lot, and this person and Jesus followed in the order of Melchizedek. So you can do your own research on that. What I want to touch on is what the allegory is telling us. Because keep in mind, all my videos are showing that have all these stories shouldn't be taken literally. It's another layer to them. One of the layers is allegorical form to teach you a higher message. Alright. Let's see. Alright. So I use the word allegory a lot. And as I discussed in this one, Abraham paid tithes to Melchizedek. If you go to Galatians chapter 4 verse 24, it states that Abram and Sarai story is an allegory. It actually says allegory in the King James Version. So you might want to look at different versions, but they actually say the word allegory. It's telling you that all those stories are allegories. So it's not just me. Your own Bible says it's an allegory. In particular, the stories about Abraham and the two covenants and of his two sons, so on and so forth. As stated earlier, Abraham paid tithes. The word tithe means a tenth or 10%. We only use 10% in our brain, the left side logical part of our brains. So we want to pay tithes to the dark side, or the side that seems to be dead or dying. So Melchizedek, Mel can stand for melanin. In my earlier video, I told you there was melanin is the beast that's talked about. Melanin is organic, which means contains carbon. We are carbon based. All humans, all life forms are carbon based. Carbon and organic all mean carbon based, which means it has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. So you want to do further research on melatonin, serotonin. DMT is another thing secreted by the pineal gland. So do some research on DMT. It was originally called niggerine. They go that N word again. I did a video on what nigger can be found in the Bible and how it's found in your brain. But DMT was changed to NZT in the movie Limitless, because what that movie is really about how white people need to try to ingest our pineal glands to get more melanin. It doesn't work for them, but the whole movie was secretly telling you that they have, like Skull and Crossbones supposedly does this at Yale. Some secret societies, they take the pineal glands out of dead people, or sometimes living if they kidnap you or whatever have you, and they ingest these pineal glands in hopes of increasing their their melanin. So it was changed to NZT in the movie Limitless. So watch Limitless with Bradley Cooper, and pay attention to the name of the book that he ended up writing in the movie, a fictional book. I think it's called Melanating the Dark Fields or something like that. So the whole movie is really about melanating the dark fields, which is Melchizedek. So that's what melanin is. Chi in Greek looks like the number X. The letter X, which is actually 10. So that's what we're dealing with is the number 10, or the 10th Sephirah, which is down here, which is the kingdom, or Malkuth. So this is the 10th Sephirah. In Chinese mythology, it's the dragon. So over in the Eastern cultures, it's always the dragon. Over here is snakes. So if you see the logo for the medical logo, it's those 2 snakes. Those snakes is called Kundalini. So you want to Google Kundalini and get a little bit. I'll do a video later on that, and different logos. So Kundalini is something you want to look into. Prana, chakras, nadis, Uraeus. Those 2. That's the cobra and the snake that ends up. If you look at the headdress of the old Egyptians, they always had 2 snakes on their forehead. What that symbolizes is the energy, the energy of the snake going from the base of your spine and finally meeting up with your pineal gland, and so it becomes Uraeus. So just look up these terms. That way you can be ahead of the next video I may make. Like I said, melatonin, serotonin. Do your own research. Tryptophan, DMT, formerly called niggerine or nigerine, however you want to pronounce it. So also, it's also the Chinese is known as an energy source. So I just want to get you, I'm just trying to break down the name Melchizedek. The name Zedek just means king. So we're dealing with the king, or the crown, you should say. So we're dealing with the first Sephirah, the crown, and how we drop down to the kingdom, and how we need to get back up to the king. So we're going from Keter to Malkuth, from the first Sephirah to the 10th one. So that's pretty much what this is all about, and how to go about it. What else? Let's discuss some of the titles of Melchizedek. He's the king of Salem, or peace. So whenever you see the word Salem or Jerusalem, it represents the heart. So that's the heart of the body. So this is another thing. He brought bread and wine. Bread is divine will, and the wine is the energy. So what you're dealing with is bread is like substance. The wine is really an allegory for the blood. So blood is life force, or this is your energy source, or this is what we all need. So blood is like the life force or energy. So that's what bread and wine. When you're dealing with bread, you're dealing with your bread basket, which is your stomach. The word Bethlehem is not a place. It's really the allegory really means stomach. Bethel is your head, or the house of God. Bethlehem means the house of bread. So if you're trying, this word in Hebrew means house of bread. So your bread box is your stomach. The reason why that's important is because what you may not know is that your stomach has a whole separate brain. You actually have two brains. You can Google this. You have what they call neural cells and neural fibers also in your stomach. Your stomach has a mind of its own. It's going to operate independent of the brain in your head. So when you're dealing with intellect, and that's all white people try to tell you about being intellectual, because they don't deal with intuition. They don't access these other higher energy. So they only deal with the, when you go to the Kabbalah tree of life, they're only dealing with the formative world. So they go from where we are to the dream world, which is intellect. The world called Yesara. Yesara, the world of formation, I should say. So when it comes to the soul, that's the intellect stage. Intellect comes from your stomach or your gut. Intuition comes from up here, which is the next stage, Bria, or the creative world. That's Sephirah 4, 5, and 6. So that's the next stage up. So as you go on down, and further, you get more and more dense, and it gets less and less real. So the further, this is the real you up here. All right, that makes sense. So basically, when you're dealing with intellect, you're dealing with your gut, which is in your stomach. When you're dealing with intuition, you're dealing with your heart. So that's the bread and wine that we're talking about here. You're dealing with these two worlds right here, down here on the kingdom, because you're a king, but you have no beginning and no end. So remember, we really don't have no beginning. All this is an illusion. Our beginning is in a void that's above Keter. Alright, so yeah, just do your own research. I just want to break down some of the terms, like to let you know tithing is really a tenth that's referring to your brain. The breakdown of Melchizedek, you got melanin, you got that life force, which is chi, and the king and the kingdom. The X means 10, which is the 10th Sephirah. Let you know that the Bible tells you that the Abraham and Sarah story is all an allegory. You can read chapter 4, Galatians 4 and 24. I want to keep reinforcing that you need to translate most of these words. Jerusalem is the heart. Bethlehem means house of bread, which is your bread basket or your stomach. So go ahead and do your own research on DMT. Look up the movie, the film Limitless, and see the plot and what it was about him ingesting these pills that gave him powers. Really is our powers. And look up some of these words and familiarize yourself with that when we talk about more magical things and what we're going to do with it. Because what you want to understand about magic, this is Magic 101. When we go to sleep, we go into this intellectual world or spirit world. You can, whatever you do in your dreams, you can actually bring it down to the physical world. So this is what I talked about in the movie Inception. There's 3 levels to the dream. We're actually supposed to be up here. This is what Dominic or Leonardo DiCaprio was trying to get back to. But he fell down here because he was stuck on his wife Mal, which is Malkuth. So you need to see my video on Inception. But as you get up and up out of these dreams, you get, this is more realer up here. So the idea right for now, you just want to try to access this world at first, at least in your dreams. Alright, so that's Magic 101. I'll go into some more magic, some more mythology for magic and other videos. Thank you.